Okay, let's go ahead and get started whenever you're ready. All right, so go ahead and find a nice comfortable seat, preferably with your hips propped up on something, a block, a pillow, a rolled up blanket. Good. And we're just gonna let the eyes close. And if you'd like, you can bring a hand to the heart and a hand to baby. Starting to settle into our practice and really feeling that connection of baby to you, so that you're welcoming your baby to come into the practice with you and move together as one. Starting to be conscious of the breath, not necessarily changing it, but noticing how it feels as the breath moves in and out of the body. And then we'll start to draw attention down to our hips, seeing if you can let the hips and the pelvis be nice and heavy, starting to root down into whatever you're sitting on. And as your sits bones root down into what you're sitting on, you might notice that the low back starts to lengthen, finding that natural curve, but not letting your pelvis tip too far forward. So letting the pelvis tip a little back, and then growing the spine. So feeling that length starting vertebrae to vertebrae right at the base of the sacrum. And feeling each vertebrae lengthen up through the low back, up through the mid back, up through the upper back. And if the shoulders are rounded forward, just go ahead and roll them back and down. Feeling nice and wide across the collarbones. Shoulders release. And letting that length come up through the back of the neck, all the way out the crown of the head. Maybe even feeling as the neck lengthens, the chin slightly tucks. And we're just going to take 3 of our deep Dirga breaths here. So on your next inhale, you're going to draw the breath down into the belly, filling the belly, filling the ribs and the mid-waist, filling up through the collarbone so the whole torso expands. And as you exhale, just softly opening the mouth and letting all of the air out through an open jaw. 2 more at your pace. Good. And then as the breath returns to neutral, just imagining that the breath can both soften and lengthen the body at the same time. And we'll set an intention for today's practice. So choosing something that you'd like to focus on. Perhaps it's just a word. Perhaps it's a full idea. But how would you like to focus your practice today? Also thinking if there's anything you'd like to take with you off the mat. Good. And allowing the eyes to softly open, hands can come down. So for our pranayama today, we'll do alternate nostril breathing, helping us with that heat and humidity, and also really help center, especially if emotions are raw today or if the mind is having trouble focusing. So you can either take your first two fingers and fold them inward. So you've got your thumb, your ring, and your pinky finger out, or you can place those two fingers on your third eye, whichever you prefer. And the thumb is going to cover the right nostril. So I may be a mirror image for you, but you're going to have your right hand up, covering the right nostril with your right thumb. We're going to take an inhale through the left nostril. Pinch and pause. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Pinch and pause. Exhale through the left. Inhale left. Pinch and pause. Exhale right. So you're going to follow your pace here. If you ever get lost, just remember you're inhaling through the same nostril you exhaled from. Or you can always open your eyes and watch me. As you're breathing, starting to lengthen the breath, smoother and longer on every inhale, smoother and longer on every exhale. And when we practice alternate nostril breathing, we really feel how the breath is four parts. We have the inhale, the pause, the exhale, the pause. We bring this idea with us into our practice of yoga as we have the work of the poses, but then the pauses and the stillness in between. And I always love to liken this to what it's like during birth, where you have the work of the surges bringing baby closer to you, but you have those pauses in between every surge where you can regain your energy and really try to relax into that pause. Just a few more on each side. And the next time you exhale out the right nostril, go ahead and bring your hand down. You can keep the eyes closed. And just breathe evenly in and out the nose. Taking this time to notice any changes in your body, your mind, or your emotions by just sitting and breathing. It can also be interesting to turn our attention to baby, seeing if you can notice any changes in them. Sometimes they start off really active and quiet down during breath. And sometimes they start off sleeping from your movement and actually wake up when we're still and breathing. Good. On your next inhale, letting the eyes open. Great. And we're going to start to roll through the wrists. And you can let the legs come long. You can either stay on what you're on, or if you feel unstable at all, you can remove your block or your pillow. But we're just rolling through wrists and ankles. Reversing that direction. Good. And then if your legs were crossed before, you can cross them back again, but in the opposite direction, which I have to think about for a sec. Next inhale, arms rise, gaze rises, and as we exhale, gentle twist to one side. And we're going to keep flowing with this. So inhales come up, exhales twist. Really taking these conscious movements, feeling how your body moves through space. Good. After this time, on your next inhale, arms rise, gaze rises. And then we're going to place one hand down on the mat and just lean over to one side. Nice opening of the side body. Beautiful. Inhaling through center. Exhaling, nice reach through that side. Gorgeous. We're going to do it one more time each side. So your pace here. Good. Coming back to center, go ahead and interlace the hands behind the back. Pull down. Look up. And let's nod a little bit. Yes. Starting to see if that neck wants to release. And nodding no. Good. Releasing the hands. Shake out, release those wrists. And then on an inhale, we're just going to lengthen the spine. And as we exhale, we're going to tip the head to one side, ear coming towards the shoulder. Let that shoulder release down. The hand can even drop to the floor. And then we're going to reach away with the other hand. Maybe it hits the mat, maybe it doesn't. And if you want a little extra, as long as it's comfy, you can bring that same side arm up and give really, really gentle pressure. So I'm barely leaning my hand on, I'm not pulling it all on my head. Nice deep breath into the side of the neck. And on your next inhale, releasing, exhaling to the other side. So first, really focusing on releasing the shoulder from the same side you're tipped to. Then if you'd like, you can stretch the opposite arm away. And then if it's comfy, you can bring that same side arm up. Just real gentle pressure on the side of the head. Nice deep breaths here into that neck. Great. Next inhale, that head comes up and just maybe a couple shoulder rolls back. Hopefully you're a little less crunchy than I am today. All right. So go ahead and remove what you're sitting on. We'll get those hips warmed up a bit. So we're going to lean back onto the hands. They can either face towards or away from the body, whatever is comfy. And feet are nice and wide here. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, we're just going to windshield wiper those knees to one side. So inhales bring us up. Exhales, drop it down. Just take your time here. If you feel that one side feels really tight, you can always pause and rock. Good. And the next time those knees are down, we're going to hold on one side. You can stay here, or if you want more of a stretch, you can bring that inside foot onto the inside leg. Just don't put pressure directly on that knee. And we're going to flex through that foot. Nice deep breaths into that hip. Exhales, asking that tissue to release a little bit more. Good. After this breath on your next inhale, knees are going to come up. Exhale brings them over to the other side. And again, you can hang out right here, or you can bring that inside foot over that inside knee. Nice deep breaths. Noticing if one side feels a little tighter than the other. And trying not to judge yourself for that tightness. We are normally not symmetrical. And as we practice, we try to remind ourselves it's just information. We don't need to judge it. One more breath. Good. Next inhale brings those knees up. And we're going to come over into our tabletop. If you'd like a little extra padding for the knees, like I do, you can take a light blanket or towel and place it right where those knees go. And then we're going to find our tabletop, making sure that wrists are mirroring shoulders, knees are mirroring hips, or a little wider. So you can always have your knees wider if that's comfier for you. And we're just going to get into our cat-cows here. So as we inhale, we're going to lift the chest, lift the gaze, try to keep the low back neutral. Exhale, we'll find that sweet cat back, rounding everything down. So following your pace here, just seeing how that spine wants to flow today. Remembering that during pregnancy, that cow pose is really focused just in the upper part of the spine, because you already have weight throughout the day, bringing that lower part of the spine to arch. Good. And if you want to add any additional movements here, like side to side, or wiggling in any direction that feels comfy, feel free to make this your own. It does not need to be a strict flexion and extension. And let's start to get more into those hips. So hands can come a little forward. And we're just going to make big circles with our hips, coming through child's pose as we go back, coming through almost like a mini cobra when we come forward. If you ever feel like coming forward is putting too much pressure on the low back, you can always make your circles smaller. And as you're ready, reversing that direction. Good. Coming back to neutral, bringing those hands back so those wrists are right under the shoulders. We're going to curl the right toes onto the mat, press back into that right heel, starting to see what is going on in the back of those legs today. Good. On your next inhale, we're gonna hug baby in as we lift that right leg up, flexing the foot, nice and strong, holding for just one more breath. And then we're gonna take that right foot all the way over to the left, crossing over the left side of the mat, going way off the mat. And the toes are on the ground. It looks like you can't quite see me, so let me move a little bit so you can see the toes are on the ground here. And we're pressing into those toes. If you'd like to take this a little further, you can also turn your head so you're looking towards the right toes. Maybe you see them, maybe you don't. Nice deep breaths into the side waist, into the hip. And on your next inhale, hugging baby in, bringing that foot back up, staying here, or taking the full bird dog, bringing that left arm up and out. Waking up the core as you lengthen through the body. Next, exhale, coming back to tabletop. Take a nice cat spine here to counterpose that. Inhale brings us back to table, and we'll take it to the other side. So we're going to curl the left toes on the mat, pressing down through the back of that leg, through that heel. Using that breath to draw your attention to the areas that feel tight, so that you can imagine on the exhales that that tissue releases, softening the muscles, softening the fascia, the connective tissue. Then on your next inhale, hug baby in, lift that leg, flexing through the foot, nice and strong. Good. On your next breath, we're going to bring that leg all the way across the right side of the mat, all the way off the mat until we can curl those toes down and press, press, press into that foot. And if you'd like, you can look over to those left toes, really stretching open through that left side waist, through the ribs, maybe even through the neck. Deep breaths in the nose, deep exhales out a soft mouth. With your next inhale, you're going to hug baby, bring that leg back, stretching through the heel. And if you'd like, you can bring that right arm up as well, reaching, reaching. Good, one more breath. And then as you exhale, coming back to table, take that cat. Letting go through the hips and the head. And inhaling back to center. So we're going to do one more round of bird dog, and I'm going to give an intermediate variation if you'd like to try it. So as you're ready, you're going to hug baby in. Inhale, right leg comes back, left arm comes up as long as you feel stable. And you are welcome to stay right here. If you do want to try an intermediate version, you can bend that back knee and reach back with the top arm, coming into kind of like a variation of dancer on the floor. Nice. We're going to take one more breath here, hugging baby in. If you followed me into intermediate, you're going to go ahead and now lengthen first. And then we're all going to come down on an exhale, rounding that spine into that nice kitty cat. Really nice. Coming back to neutral, taking it to the other side. So on an inhale, left leg comes back, right arm comes up if that feels good. Really hugging baby in and feeling not just that you're hugging in the front, but all the way through the side waist and the back body. And if you'd like that intermediate variation, bending the back knee, reaching back with that right hand, and then really opening up through the shoulders by kicking that left leg back. So we're growing. One more breath. If you're in that intermediate, go ahead and lengthen. And then as you exhale, we'll all come down, taking that cat. And let's take it all the way back into a child. So knees come as wide or wider than the mat. And we're just going to come down onto the hips, letting the head come down. Nice full breath here. Enjoy the pause. Good. Next inhale, we're going to rise back up into table. And we'll take it to a down dog. So bringing the hands out, bringing the hips up, walking that dog. Taking the feet nice and wide here, as wide as the mat. Taking that time to notice how one leg could feel a little different. Maybe you need to go a little slower on one side. And then when you're ready, you're going to find that nice, sweet balance between the hands and the feet. Let the knees bend and press through the palms. Lift the hips back and up. So we're really starting to lengthen the spine by doing this. And keeping that length where you feel the hips going back and up towards the sky, go ahead and start to lower the heels any amount. They don't have to touch. Knees can still stay soft. Head is hanging. One full breath here. Next, inhale, take as many steps as you need to bring that right foot onto the outside of the right palm. We're going to drop that back knee here. If you'd like, you can bring the hands to the knee first, or you can go ahead and inhale them all the way up. As you exhale, let the arms spin out, palms open, thumbs come back towards the back of the room. And then let your tailbone drop. So we're looking for that neutral spine again. If you'd like, you can then also lean a little more forward, starting to fire up the front of that hip flexor, and maybe lifting the gaze and the collarbones up towards the sky. Opening up like a bird opening its wings. One more breath. Next inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. And we're going to bring the left palm down, taking a nice open twist with the right arm up, staying here or lifting the back knee, and then staying here or wrapping that top arm around the low back if you'd like to open the shoulders up a little more. One more breath. If you followed me on your inhale, unwrap that arm. And as you exhale, lower the knee, lower the hand, and we're going to bring that knee back into our table. Palms come forward. We're lifting back into our downward facing dog. Take your time to make any adjustments you need in the down dog. And we're going to take 3 more big Dirga breaths here. So long inhales. Exhaling out a soft, open jaw. Look at what your body can do. Next, inhale, look forward and take as many steps as you need to bring that left foot out into the outside of the left hand. We're going to bring that right knee down. And again, you can stack the hands on the knee first to gain your balance, or you can go ahead and inhale, arms come all the way up. Checking in with the low back, making sure it's nice and neutral. And as you exhale, hands come down, palms spin out, thumbs face back. And as long as that low back is staying neutral, you can lean forward into the hips and arch right up from the sternum. Growing, opening those wings. One more breath. Next inhale, we rise up. Exhale brings hands through heart center. And we're going to bring that right hand down, inhaling left arm high. You can stay right here, or you can take that right knee off the mat. You can stay right here, or you can wrap that upper arm. Feeling the strength in this pose. And at the same time, noticing where can you release? What can you let go of? Next, inhale, if you're wrapped, unwrap. Exhale, hand comes down, knee comes down, and we step back into our tabletop. And let's just take a nice little flow. We're going to bring hands a little bit forward here, and you're going to have an option. So you may want to just watch this for a moment, though we have done this one before. So as I inhale, I come forward. I can stay here, or I can take my little mini chaturanga. And as I exhale, I'm going to come back through child. Inhaling up, opening my chest. Inhaling up, exhaling to come forward and doing it again. So I can take a little chaturanga. If I want, you can always skip that and just hang out in your cobra. Letting my body rise, opening those wings. And bringing it back down. So see if you can follow your breath and your pace here. As we just explore how our bodies can still move so beautifully through space. What feels good today? We're just going to do two more. This is my last one. And the next time you find yourself in child's pose, we're just going to stay there and enjoy that pause. So when you catch up to me, you'll be doing 3 breaths in child's. Really letting the body drop on those exhales. Leaning into the pause. Letting go in the hips and in the head. Good. As you're ready, you're going to use your hands to push you back onto into a seated position. And go ahead and remove that blanket or towel that you had if you had it on the mat. We're going to come back into a down dog. And we're just going to do one nice deep breath here. So finding your dog and a full yoga breath. And then I want you to use your hands to walk back towards your feet. Feet are nice and wide on the mat. And we're just going to hang over and forward fold. So choosing your favorite forward fold position. Knees are nice and soft. I'm choosing to grab my elbows, but any variation is fine. Focus on really letting that head hang. And from the weight of the head, we feel the neck lengthen. All the vertebrae of the spine lengthen. Seeing if you can sink just another inch. And then bend the knees, bring the elbows to the knees. Inhale, flat back here. And we're gonna stay with a flat back, and then on our next inhale, press through the feet, flat back, inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands come to heart center, and we'll bring a hand to the heart and a hand to baby, letting the eyes close. Can you let go in the thighs, in the hips, in the belly? Can you trust your bones to hold you up? And then feeling that connection once again of your heart to baby's heart. Coming back to your intention. Good. Inhaling lightly, open the eyes. And go ahead and walk to the front of your mat. So feet are at least hip width apart or wider if you need that. Inhale, arms up. We're going to step our right foot back. And you can either follow me in crescent, or if you prefer to be in warrior one with the heel down, you're welcome to. And then just like on the mat, we're going to let the arms come back, thumb spin out, and just check in with that low back. Just make sure that you're not arching forward. So low back is nice and neutral. Any arch we take here is going to come from the heart. So sternum and heart rise. And we can lean a little more forward into that left knee, feeling that hip flexor on the right open up. Good. Next inhale, arms rise. We're going to lower that back heel, open up warrior two, remembering during pregnancy that we want our legs a little wider, so not on the same plane. Flipping that front palm, reach forward, rainbow back, peaceful warrior. Right hand could hug baby or hold on part of the back leg. Inhaling back to two. Now straightening through those legs. If you'd like a block, you can grab one. We're going to come in a triangle. So we're going to lean forward as far as we can. And then we're going to bring that left hand down, right arm up. And you'll see I'm using a block today for my hand. But if you don't want to use a block or you don't have one, you can use your leg or bring the palm all the way to the floor. Really growing, lengthening. Sometimes it feels good to even lean back a little bit. You can feel that through the hips, through the shoulders. One more breath. And on your next inhale, bend into that front knee, lifting back up into warrior two. And we're going to spin forward again, warrior one or crescent. This time you may want to have two blocks handy. We're going to make our stance just a little shorter so we can straighten both legs comfortably. Feeling that length in the spine. Inhaling, arms rise. As we exhale, I'm going to hinge at my hips, reaching the arms forward, trying to keep that back nice and flat. And when I feel like I'm at that edge, not a forceful edge, but just that's where my hips want to go today, I'm going to let my back round, bringing my hands either to blocks or to the floor. And then I'm going to draw my left hip back. So the left hip is usually popped in front of the right here. I'm just really subtly trying to draw that back, looking to even it out. Now this might feel kind of intense, especially if your legs are tight. But if you are really flexible and you want to take it further, you can also peel the left toes off of the floor, flexing through that foot. Just going to take a few breaths here, nice and steady. Really seeing if you can imagine the back of the legs opening up. Good. One more breath. You're doing great. And then placing that foot down, we're going to bend through the front knee. Inhale, arms rise, going as slowly as you need to, making sure you have your balance. And we're back in our warrior one or crescent. On your next breath, we're going to step that back foot to meet the front. Exhale, forward fold, let yourself hang. Bending the knees, elbows come to knees. Inhale, flat back. Stay with your flat back, and on your next inhale, pressing through the feet, lifting all the way up to standing, arms rise. Exhale, hands through heart center, leaving a hand at the heart and a hand on baby. Can you release through the legs, the hips, and the belly? Lean into the pause. Good. Next inhale, allowing the eyes to open. And we're going to take all of that to the other side. So as you're ready, you're going to inhale, arms rise, gaze rises. Exhale, step back with that left foot now, either in crescent or spinning the heel down to warrior one. We're going to let the arms fall back, thumbs spin out nice and open through the chest. And checking in, low back is nice and neutral. And if you'd like to take that arch, I'm going to lean forward into that right knee, opening up through the sternum, the heart, and the gaze rises. Nice full breath here. Next, inhale, arms rise. Spinning that back foot down, opening up warrior two. To feel nice and stable, you can always widen your feet if you need to. Strong warrior, strong mama. Flip that front palm, reach forward, rainbow back, finding that peaceful warrior. Good. Next, inhale, we come back to two, lengthening through that front leg, grabbing a block if you need it for triangle. And we're going to lean forward as far as we're comfortable with, and then bring that right arm down, left arm high, finding that triangle pose, and then making all those little micro adjustments, really feeling grounded through the feet, long through the legs, open through the chest. And if you feel stable enough, you can even lean back a little, firing up that front hip flexor and the opening up through the shoulders. One more breath. Inhale, bend through that front knee, open up, warrior two. Pivoting on that back foot, we're gonna shorten our stance again by about a foot so that both legs can be straight. Square your hips front, and then if you want your second block, you're welcome to put that on either side of that front foot. So again, just making sure those hips are square. Inhale, arms rise. And as we exhale, lean forward with that nice flat back. Really reaching. And when that's as far as your hips want to hinge, you can let the hands come down to the blocks or the mat. Let the head hang. Seeing what is going on in that leg today. And then drawing that right hip back. It might be really subtle, but just drawing it back towards the left. And as we're here, if you do want to take it further, you can peel those right toes off of the mat, flexing into the right foot. Ooh, that definitely fired it up for me. Nice, calm, deep breaths. Focusing on letting go. One more breath. Good. And if the toes are up, you can bend them down, bending into that front knee. We're going to lift up nice and slow into warrior one. Great. And then we're going to step that back foot. You might need to move a block to meet the front foot. Exhale, forward fold. Let yourself hang. Bending the knees, elbows come to knees. Inhale, flat back. And keeping a flat back on your next inhale, press through the feet. Use the legs to lift you all the way to standing. Exhaling, hands through heart center. Hand comes to the heart, hand comes to baby. And we let go. Good. Next inhale, eyes open. So we're going to work a balance today, and I'm going to give you an option of which you'd like to work. We have actually been warming up for dancer. So we can do dancer either if you're comfortable with it on the mat or using a wall. I'm going to show both methods. If you're not comfortable doing dancer, you can always follow me and do warrior three instead. It's a very similar pose without having to grab the back foot. So with the wall, you have two options. The easiest is to face the wall, and you're actually going to have a hand on the wall when you come down. The other option, if you're more used to doing dancer, but you're afraid to do it totally without a wall, is you can do it so that when you come up, a foot can hit the wall. It's actually more like warrior three if you want to do that with a foot. And you can also do it on the side so that you have your hip against the wall. But I'm going to assume that we're going to do it with hand coming towards the wall. So to figure out where you want to be, you want to lean forward a bit, so hinge at the hips with a flat back, and see where your hand hits. You'll likely be closer than you want to be at first, and that's okay. So we're going to start with feet hip width apart, and we're going to lean all of our weight into the left standing leg. We're really feeling everything ground down through the left. Then we're going to pick a gaze point, a drishti, something unmovable, and lift up that right leg and left hand. So I'm grabbing on the inside of my foot. Teachers teach this differently. It's fine if you prefer to grab the outside of your foot. I find I have better form grabbing the inside. So choose what you'd like. And then as you're ready, you're going to start to lean forward any amount, and that hand may graze or fully touch the wall. Taking this to any level you would like. And I'm also making sure that I'm hugging baby in at the same time. So my core is working and I'm going nice and slow. The nice thing with doing this on the wall is you can, if you're brave, slowly walk your hand down the wall. And sometimes people find they get even farther into Dancer than they have before. And then as you're ready, you're going to slowly, slowly come out. Left arm comes up. We step the feet hip width apart. And a hand comes to the heart, a hand comes to baby. So let that go. Release through the hips. Release in the belly. You're doing an amazing job. As you're ready, eyes will open. We're going to take this over to the other side. Get rid of that. So this time, letting all of the weight pour into the right standing leg. Right leg is nice and strong and rooted. I'm going to lift my left leg, taking a hold. Again, I prefer on the inside of the foot. As I inhale, my right arm rises. And then as I'm ready, I'm going to slowly come forward any amount. Really taking my time, finding the expression of the pose that feels good on this side. It doesn't need to look like how it did on the other side. Playing with sliding your hand down the wall if you'd like. And then as you're ready, coming back up. Lifting the right arm as you lower the left foot. And hand comes to heart, hand comes to baby, eyes closed. Let go. Release the hips, release the belly. Good. Inhaling, eyes open. And I think we're going to go over just a little bit today. Hopefully that's okay. But I would like to do this one more time each side just to give you a chance to practice again. So I'm going to show this one without using the wall, but you are welcome to still use the wall, whichever you prefer. So again, I'm going to start to ground down now into the left leg, lifting the left arm and grabbing the back of that right foot. And taking this at your pace here. Finding the expression that feels good today. Look at what your body can do. When you're ready, coming out and enjoying that pause at the top. And taking it to the other side, feeling the strength in that right leg as the left leg lifts and the right arm rises. Using that unmovable gaze point, that drishti, to help give you focus as you come forward. Kicking into that hand to open up. Knowing all those little wiggles as your body getting stronger. And then as you're ready, coming on up and letting that foot come down. Good. Finding that Tadasana one last time with a hand on the heart and a hand on baby. Feeling proud of the work that you did. Enjoying feeling baby balance with you. Next inhale, eyes open. And we're going to come down onto a block into our yogic squat. Good. Great. So I've got the block right under my sits bone, so I'm feeling nice and secure here. Elbows are on the inside of the knees. If you feel stable, you can let the eyes close. And we're just going to do a little bit of pelvic floor. So as you're ready on an inhale, start to engage the pelvic floor, pulling it in and up, up, up. And as you exhale, letting it release completely. So follow your breath and your pace here. We inhale, we engage by squeezing those muscles that we use to stop ourselves from peeing. And exhale as we release completely. Good, just two more at your pace. Wonderful. Great. And then opening the eyes, releasing the palms. We're going to come all the way down on the back. And we're going to hug the knees in, one hand to each shin, just rolling a little, releasing through that low back. And we'll just take this into a final twist here. So arms come long, legs come up, and as you're ready, you're just going to exhale the legs over to one side. If you need to, especially in pregnancy, you might want to put a block or a pillow between the legs. Totally up to you. And if you like having that extra weight of putting a hand on the thigh, go for it. Nice deep breaths, letting the spine expand. Letting the belly go after all that sweet work we did. One more breath. And on your next inhale, lifting the legs to center, exhaling them over to the other side. Gazing away from the knees as long as that feels good in the neck. And knowing you can always put that hand on top of the thigh if it feels good. Starting to wind down as we get ready for Shavasana. One more breath. As we inhale, bringing those knees up, removing the block if it's there. And from here, you can take any additional poses or stretches that you would like to do before heading into Shavasana. When you're ready, you can take Shavasana either on your side with plenty of pillows to prop you up, or you can take it in a reclined supine, which I will show. So I'm placing my block at the top of the mat. Any height will do. I just like it at medium. I'm placing my bolster or firm pillow to make a triangle shape. Then I'm going to get my sacrum right to the edge of that bolster. I have another bolster or pillow for under my knees. And I am chilly in the air conditioning today, so I'm also taking a blanket to cover my body. Just make yourself as cozy as possible. You did amazing work today. And now your body deserves this sweet, comfy rest at the end. Making any micro adjustments, getting all those little last wiggles out before we settle in. Palms are facing up, open to receive. And let's bring in a light, airy feeling today. So think about the air that's surrounding your body right now. If you are in a heat wave like we are now, you can imagine that that air is nice and cool and crisp. Think about the quality of the air. Is it heavy? Is it light? You're also welcome to give it a color if that resonates with you. And we're going to allow the air to enter through the crown of our head, expanding through the skull, taking away any heaviness, letting the head be light, the eyes lighten, the cheeks and the forehead release, letting that lightness open up through the jaw, feeling that cool air around the teeth and the tongue. Letting that air come down through a nice open throat, releasing all the muscles of the neck, lightening down into the shoulders, across the collarbones. As we feel that air start to blow down into the arms, releasing all of the muscles as it goes. Light down into the forearms, into the wrists, into the hands and the fingers, as if the whole arms are hollow, with air lovely blowing through. Feeling that air in the upper back, in the heart and the lungs. Plenty of air going across the collarbones, wrapping around the ribs, lightening up the mid-back. Air lightening up any emotions in the sternum, the solar plexus. Feeling all of that air come into the torso, creating plenty of space for baby and plenty of space for us. Feeling the weight of baby lightening off of the hips as that air creates space in the low back, through the sideways, and all around the belly and the womb. Baby is playfully held by the air, allowing that air to lighten up through the pelvis, the pelvic floor, the hips. And that air whooshes down through the legs, softening the thighs, softening the knees, the shins, the calves. Air lightening the ankles, lightening through the feet, the toes, and out through the soles of the feet. Imagining the whole body now is hollowed out, allowing that air to come in through the crown of the head and through the whole body like a big straw. Surrender yourself here into this lightness, as if you could float away. Let go. Beginning to deepen the breath now, as you feel your body coming back to your mat. Bringing movement into fingers and toes. Consciously feeling baby rising and falling with your breath. Movement comes into wrists and ankles. And if it feels good, you can take a full body breath, stretching arms and legs long. Finding the way you would like to come into your seat, moving nice and slowly to get there. And when you're ready to sit up, just making sure you hug baby in And use your hands to help sit you up, but no rush. Take your time. Good. If it's easy to do, sitting up on something so your hips are propped. And we'll bring a hand to the heart and a hand to baby, checking back in. Good. Noticing all the shifts that your body, your mind, and your emotions have gone through. And coming back to your intention. If there's anything else you'd like to let go of, we'll take a breath together. So let your next inhale be nice and big. Exhale, let it go. Hands come to heart center and we bow the head. And we give thanks to ourselves for taking this time for our practice today. By caring for ourselves, we can be more present and caring to those around us. And we thank our baby for sharing in our practice today. All the benefits that we get from practicing yoga get transferred to our baby. All that relaxation and strength. And lifting the gaze, we thank each other with a namaste.